The city of Skalahólt burned as I marched across the cobblestone streets and toward the center of the undead necropolis. Up ahead, marble steps rose to a set of double doors that barred the way into the Empirical library. Thanatos' stronghold, his last refuge. Chiseled columns lined the front of the sprawling, temple-like structure that looked like it had been modeled after St. Peter's Basilica. Domineering statues of the Overminds lined the edge of the roof, and rising up behind them was a black dome the color of a fresh oil slick. The twisted corpse light swirling above the undead city painted the library with lurid, dancing shadows and patches of watery green light. It was like something out of a nightmare. And it was a nightmare. My nightmare. We'd done so much, come so far, but still, this place stood like a monument to our failure. Through seemingly endless bloodshed, we'd managed to invade the realm of a digital god, beat down a swarm of the undead, and seize an impenetrable city. We'd accomplished what everyone had sworn was impossible. It still wasn't enough. Even though we'd managed to slow Thanatos' creeping victory into Eldgard, we hadn't beat him. He was in there, tucked away behind the safety of the building's marble facade, which stood as a sign of his indomitable might, and the price of our victory. So many dead and gone, so many costly sacrifices. Instinctively, I clenched my fist around the crystal key in my hand as I envisioned Abby's body, crumpled and unmoving, her eyes lifeless as I held her slumped body against my chest. I jumped through every hoop and played the Overminds games, and in the end, all my power hadn't been able to save the one person who mattered most to me in this new world. Abby was the anchor that reminded me of who I was, where I'd come from, and what we were fighting for. She and I weren't in this for power or glory or political domination. We didn't want an empire. We wanted pizza and late nights with friends. We were fighting for good coffee and great books, for holding hands together and watching the sun dip low as kids played in the grass, giggling and happy. We were waging a war for normalcy, battling tooth and nail for everything that had been taken from us by an indifferent universe and a cadre of corrupt billionaires. And now, she was gone, lost. The only person I had left from my old life had been stolen from me. But if what Jeff had told me was true, then maybe it wasn't too late to save her. And that was a chance I had to take, no matter how bad the odds. "Jack, you don't want to do this," Osmark said from beside me, his long legs eating up the ground to keep pace with me. "Oh, I definitely do," I replied, not even bothering to slow down. In 3 quick strides, the artificer stepped around me, barring my path. He'd straightened his top hat and adjusted his fine silk jacket, but he was still a mess from the fight against the hungry ghosts, Thanatos' final ambush, which had nearly cost us everything, which had cost me my best friend. Dirt and sweat marred his face, and copious amounts of blood stained his artificer's finery. "I know you're angry, and your reaction is understandable, but we can't just storm in there. Like hell we can't. Now get out of my way," I barked, a snarl creeping across my lips. "Or I'll make you get out of my way." He raised his hands, showing me empty palms. "I'm not trying to pick a fight with you, Jack. The endgame is in sight. We are standing on the precipice even now." He half turned and waved toward the door. "But that is exactly the time to regroup and reflect. We need to be smart about this. If we blunder in there motivated by nothing more than blind rage, we will lose. And not just your chance at bringing Miss Hollander back from the dead. We will lose the chance to save this world and all the people in it." He dropped a hand onto my shoulder, meeting my eyes and refusing to look away. "We have never been closer to ultimate success, but we have also never been closer to catastrophic failure."